Alrighty. Think of something witty. Do 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 do. Hi, it's Brainmuffin, also known as Bryon Lape, depending on how you want to look at that. Back with a beer review. We haven't done one of these in a long time, and this is going to be a twofer, if you will. So I finally, on camera, I'm going to review one of my homebrews. It happens to be a recent one that is very popular with a bunch of people. I'm just about out of it. I'm going to have to make some more. Even my cousin is willing to buy me all my ingredients so I can make some. Of course, she's probably going to get 2 6-packs if we do that. I mean, it's going to be, you know, at least 24 bottles. So, 48. What am I saying? It's 51, 52. If I get a full 5, it doesn't matter. So this is, and I didn't make this and keep good enough notes to enter the Rheingeist Homebrew Contest. Plus, it's kind of outside the guidelines, but we'll see. It is my Hoppy Brown Belgian Stout, version 1. I want to tweak this a little bit. The yeast that I use, I want to use a little bit different yeast. But the other thing is, I got a lot of people that are starting to get my homebrews who don't know how to properly pour them. And so I want to put that in the beginning of this. I may even extract it out as a mini sample. And here's why. This beer, although you cannot see it, is bottle conditioned, and that means at the bottom there's going to be a little bit of yeast. And this is a Belgian yeast, and they're very easy to get disturbed. Now, some people like the flavor of it, some people don't. In my IPA, you don't want the yeast sediment. With this one, you might want it. In fact, you might want to turn it up and down. Don't shake it, but just disturb the yeast. So what that means is when you pour it, and you want to pour and still get a good head on the beer, you want to make sure that you don't go too far too quickly so that you get a gurgling going. And this one is quite well carbonated in the bottle. And you just kind of watch, and when you start to see a little bit of yeast, you're done. And so there's a little bit I could have probably poured out in there, but that's fine. Being a Belgian, I probably should have gotten the tulip bulb glass, but and I didn't know that's some of my daughter's arts and crafts. It's not a spill. So that is about a good pour that you should get with a Belgian beer. It's going to be foamy. It's going to have lots of head. The foam's going to have lots of flavor. This has been sitting for a while, out for a while, so it's the right temperature. And this, like all my other beers, are on, if you want to find them on Untappd, it's Brainmuffin's Beer Kitchen is the homebrew. And this is the Hoppy Brown Belgian Stout, version 1. So what I wanted to do with this, start with a decent stout recipe, add a little bit of a hint of a Belgian style to it, and then I wanted to use the golden ale yeast, but they didn't have it. I had to substitute. So this should have some dark fruit flavors. Smells really good. It smells kind of like a dark Belgian, without being like a duple or anything. That's even better. Holy cow. So you get a little bit of bitterness. There is a tiny bit of discernible hop bitterness. So it's not true to a stout style. And what's really interesting with the finish is you get the roasted malt grain. Definitely you get some bitterness, because that's the biggest difference between a porter and a stout, other than a porter can have a bigger range of coloring. Stouts are all supposed to be dark, but porters can be dark brown to almost black like a stout. Is where the bitterness, the source of the bitterness. And a true stout, there should be no discernible hop aroma, no discernible hop bitterness, and no discernible hop flavor. So you can use hops to bitter it, but you don't want it to make it feel like it's just from hops. I should have brought my notes, but I am going to do a blog post on this because my cousin wants to know what the recipe is. So I'll go into all the details. I'll put the link in the description of what the ingredients are. I'll even go through my step mashing and all my notes and how long and what temperatures and all that. So all the beer nerds out there can really get off on it. But you see how the head stays there, and Belgians are supposed to be warm, and as you just swirl a little bit, it'll go back up. That is nice, kind of a brown sugar colored head. In fact, I'm going to raise my rating. I originally gave this a 3.5. I bottled this back in July, so this one's had a little bit of time to mellow. I need to get the alcohol content up. What I may do, oh look at that, I'll unlock the badge on Homebrew. on Untappd. What I may do is put a little bit of candy sugar in the boil, near the end of the boil, just to get the overall gravity up before I ferment it, and to give it a little bit more Belgian character. I don't want it overblowing everything and taste like a Belgian beer that happens to be dark. I want that kind of combination. Another variant that I've actually thought of putting in here, once I get the recipe the way I like it, is a little bit of smoked malt, just to give it a hint of a Baltic porter. But that is a maybe. I don't know. But I definitely would like to get some of this when I get the ABV up high enough, because I think this one's only, I didn't put it on the bottle. I think this one is, I want to say 7.9%. I really am aiming for 9. Once I get a 9 or 10, then I also want to do a time when I put this on oak chips, perhaps in the secondary for a couple weeks. And then eventually I want to do a version where I'm putting it on chips that oak chips I've soaked in a pretty good bourbon. I used Kentucky Tavern several years ago, and it was just, it's a decent bourbon if you're mixing it with something that's really sweet, because it's kind of a bit of a bitter bourbon, but outside itself it's horrible. So, But there you go. So there's how you're going to pour the homebrew. Oh, that's good. This is really, really good. Now I see the foam especially, and I can even pour a little bit more, even though I mix that stuff up. I don't care. The yeast, you can see it now in the pour a little bit, but that is really, really good. You get nice malt characteristics on the nose. Get a little bit on the front of the tongue. Mid-mouth. The mouth feels a little weak on here. I want to work on that too. But that's part of that step mashing. I can get that mouth feel up. And there's even hints of it being like a milk stout. There's a little hint of a little sweetness that you'd get from a milk stout, although there's no lactose in this at all, so it's not technically a milk stout. But yeah, that is very good. That would also be very good. Food pairings. People want to know food pairings. It always seems like I always talk about a cheeseburger with sharp cheddar cheese and bacon on it. But I would mix this with anything really savory. So any kind of, I'm not really big on sauces, Italian food, stuff like that. But a savory Italian sauce, perhaps a white sauce type thing. Fettuccine Alfredo, definitely salmon, definitely a good savory fish. Something that has capers and other things in it. This would definitely complement those flavors and help cleanse the palate. I wouldn't have this with a steak, surprisingly. I actually wouldn't have it with beef at all, or turkey. I'd stick with fish. I'd stay away from poultry unless you had something that was a really, not sweet but tangy barbecue. I think it would be too overpowering with sweet, but because this has a slight sweet finish, so something savory, something tangy. So, all right, thanks for stopping by. And the dogs are going crazy because someone's banging crap on the side of the house. Never finished. It wouldn't be one of my videos, right, if I had it perfectly quiet the entire time I'm on. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for clicking like. Man from Corsica, your reviews are coming up very, very soon, I promise. All right, see you all tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.